Yes, people, we're back again. 12th man's back. The Arsenal roundabout's back. We've got a good show for you tonight with an elite panel. We have got Stricto that's going to jump on in a little while. We've got Kenny Ken back in the house. Good to see him this morning, and he's back on the show this evening. We've got Matty, Southern Gooner. Make sure you're following him. We've got D, Brandon, and there he is, Stricto Strict, jumping on just in time as we go live. Please make sure you do me a favor, people. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And you're doing the same for every single one of these people. You're following Kenny Ken on social media, Southern Gooner on all YouTube and social media. True Gunners TV with Brandon, Famzone TV, and of course, Stricto Strict. Make sure you are following all of these guys. Okay, Jersey. Make sure you're following them as well. Got the code 12 man. Any name or number, World Cup jerseys out as well, people. So make sure that you are getting whoever you're supporting this nation for the World Cup. Make sure that you are going and showing them some love. They've been great to us. So go and show them some love. You can get any name and number on the back as well. And it's very cheap and well worth a look. So we're going to talk about Arsenal tonight. We're going to talk about Saka signing a new deal. Was it worth the money? Has he now got to step up? What's the pressure looking like at the moment as far as Arsenal fans are concerned, with Manchester City now 4 points behind us? But we can now go 7 points clear if we beat Wolves tomorrow night. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk Martin Odegaard and the rumours of him leaving as well. There's quite a lot to talk about considering that, we've only played Wigan and brushed past them. So look, let's start, people. Hit like and subscribe. Make sure if you've got any super chats you want to get in, that you do that nice and early. They'll be read out at some point in the stream as well. Let's start with a new deal for Bukayo Saka, shall we? Brandon, let's start with you. £300,000 a week, bruv. A lot of money. Some would say it's well worth it because he's one of the best players at the club, although he hasn't really shown that in his recent form of late. Since his injury, I don't think we've seen the same Bukayo Saka, in my opinion. But what's your opinion on this deal now, which is long-term to 2031, I believe? £300,000 a week, the highest earner at the club, bruv.
I'd be inclined to agree, Dan. I think you're absolutely spot on. Since the injury, he's not had the same impact. I kind of feel for him a little bit, to be honest with you, because the injury has impacted how effective he is in this team, I feel. I still don't feel like Bukayo Saka is the complete, fully fit Bukayo Saka that we've seen in past seasons. Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, that's big wages. Obviously your best players are going to command big wages. Highest paid player. I don't think anybody else has received that sort of money apart from maybe a Mesut Ozil. I think he was on roughly around that sort of money as well. And of course, with the big money comes big responsibility. So, in answer to your question, yeah, he absolutely has to step up. He has to step up. But the one thing that I will give Bukayo Saka is, ever since he sort of burst into the Arsenal team, he has been stepping up for us. He was the shining light in the Arsenal side when, we had the likes of Mustafi, the likes of David Luiz, the squads that weren't very good. Bukayo Saka kind of took the team and carried us for 2 or 3 seasons, really. So he's done his work in that sense. But now we're looking for a player who's going to drag us over the line, who's going to start winning major trophies on a consistent basis with us. And he has to be a big part of that. I don't think he's had the greatest of seasons this season. I think all his statistics and stats prove that. But again, it's down to the injury, bro. Like, look at that injury. It's a massive injury to have surgery on your hamstring. We all see the scar down the back of his leg. And then only a month later to go and do the same injury on the opposite leg as well, and still be quite heavily relied upon in this side. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I suppose time will tell, but he's definitely our best. He's our best winger still. Even though he's not fully fit, he's still our best winger. There's no doubt about that. And at the end of the day, you have to pay these players big money, because if you don't pay these players big money and they leave, then you've got to replace them. How much money would it cost us to replace somebody of Bukayo Saka's, quality when he's at his best? You're talking in the £100+ million, to go and replace him with somebody. And I don't really think there's anybody out there, not that is of the level of Bukayo Saka at his best, but I don't think there's anybody out there who offers the same sort of thing that we kind of get from Bukayo Saka in this squad. Maybe a Lamine Yamal, but again, how much is it going to, realistically, we're talking here, you're not going to get Lamine Yamal out of Barcelona, number one. And even if you could, you're talking, £200 million plus. So I think it's a smart move. He's obviously come up through the academy. We've trusted in him a lot over the years, and he has done the business and come up with, the goods for us. And we just have to trust now that he's going to do the same again on the big wages. The only thing that sort of bothers me is you see a lot of the time when these players receive the big money, their performances don't tend to match. It's almost like they get a little bit comfortable. I don't think Bukayo Saka is that type of player personally, but you do see that, these players, they get the big money and all of a sudden the performances don't kind of match up anymore. So time will tell, mate. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, look, I'll be real. Aubameyang and Ozil, people are going to liken it to that. They went downhill once they signed the contract. You can say the same probably now with Salah at Liverpool this season. Everyone's now likening it to that. But this was not really a shock to me. But do you think it's good news for the club that he signed a long-term deal? Or do you think there's like an element of, we haven't really seen the best of Saka and this is going to be a risk now? And, is Saka ruined by this injury? Is he going to be ever the same again? There's quite a lot of questions about this deal. Whereas I think if he wasn't injured and he just signed, everyone would be buzzing about it, D.
Yeah. I think when you have to analyze a player's contract and stuff like that, I think a lot of time we always analyze it with what players do on the pitch. But in this case, I think you have to analyze a lot of it of what it does off the pitch as well. I think a lot of people don't really do that. This will do a lot more harm than good if Saka wasn't at our club because of how much he means to us as fans. This is the first player, I think, in since Henry, Ian Wright, those guys that we've really kind of feel like this is our guy. We've not really had that for a long time. In this team, we've only got 4 players that I feel are probably worthy of that tag. That's Saka, Declan Rice, Gabriel and Saliba. They're the 4 players that I feel stand out in this bracket of we can try and get behind you and be one of ours kind of thing. But Saka is really one of our main superstars. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we've had that for a long time. So I think it's not so much on the pitch. Yeah, he hasn't been, like I say, in this season anyway, 300 grand worthy so far this season. I wouldn't say he's been 300 grand worthy, but I think he's worth far more, 100 times that to us as fans. And there'd be a riot if Saka left this club. Honestly, there would be a riot if Saka left this club. I don't know, not even on a free transfer, but they were looking at, we're looking to sell Saka. I don't think anybody is thinking about his performances when it comes to this contract. I don't think there's anyone that will say Saka doesn't deserve this contract. I don't think anyone would think like that. Even though technically this year he hasn't really earned it, I don't think anyone's really that bothered by it because of how much he means to us. So I think this is chump change to remember the years of losing players. How many years we were losing players in their peak? Nasri, Fabregas, Van Persie, all of these guys that we were losing when they started to come good for our club for years, bruv. How many times we were talking about when we're going to be able to keep a player that's at his peak? Saka hasn't even reached his peak yet. So it'll be a riot if Saka left, man. It's the bare minimum that he needs to earn at this club for him to stay. It's the new day and age. This is what they earn. The players earn, so he has to get it. They make enough money from the stadium anyway, man. We're paying loads of money to go there, so pay the players. Simple.
Stricto, is there any concerns about this deal, or are you quite happy, bruv?
What's the alternative? Him not sign a contract, him leave the club?
Exactly.
That's the alternative. 300 grand. We haven't paid a transfer fee for this guy. He's come through the academy, earned his spot in the first team since he's broke through. Not only has he earned his spot, he's carried the clubs at various periods since he's made his breakthrough. Saka, for me, whether people agree or not, he's deserving of this contract. purely because of what he's done. Purely because of what he's done. Because if you look at today, he's not producing the numbers. The expectation levels have risen, but his numbers have gone down. And someone, I don't, was it you? Was it Brandon talking about the injury? That injury is a terrible injury to have. But Saka's put himself on the line for Arsenal. If you ask him to play left back, he plays left back. Right back, he plays right back. On the wings, he'll play it. He's never complained. He's never moaned. He's always tracked when he needed to. He's always pressed when he needed to. He's not a big-time Charlie, but he's on big-time Charlie credits. And unlike most people in the squad, Saka has credit in the bank. I don't care what nobody says. This guy has credit. Like, before I look at anyone else, like, Saka's the last person I'm looking at to dig out. And I'm not saying that to say he's void of criticism. Of course he's not. No one is. But he's got credit in the bank. And now the club have made sure he's got credit in the bank. So, do you get what I'm saying? So we just gotta get behind it. He's definitely one of our own. My memory's not short enough to think about what he's done this season. I think about what he's done at a whole at the club. I think about his maturity. Saka's never one you hear about doing stupidness outside of football. He's just got engaged. He seems like, like a very respectable young man. He's gone from star boy to star man. And I was saying to D yesterday on our show, one of the good things about Saka, he might not be the flair player, might not do your Rabonas or your flicks, but one thing with Saka is he does the right things all of the time. He knows when to pass, he knows when to shoot, he knows when to hold, and things like that you really can't instill in players. If you don't have it, you just don't have it. Do you know what I'm saying? And some players out there will cover that up, their lack of football IQ. They'll cover that up with being flair players. But Saka's very direct. You know what you get with him. Often at times, you know what you get with him, but you just can't stop it. So yeah, I think if you look at it in an investment point of view, we're not losing money here. We haven't spent any at all. Bringing it into the first team. A player like Saka, easily you could sign for like 80 to 90 mil, easily. This is straight out of the production line into work. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you look at it that way, what is really the cost? Nothing really. So yeah, that's just my view on Saka.
Yeah, I don't know, Matty. There's a lot of people that have messaged me today from a rival fan's perspective saying this is a crazy deal. I can't believe it. I don't really know what they expected. Did they think that we were just going to let Saka run his contract down and go on a free? Like, he was clearly always going to be the highest paid player at the club, and he was always going to sign, in my opinion. I think he's happy at the club. He's seen as a star boy. He's the poster boy at Arsenal, and he's happy here. So I wasn't really shocked, if I'm honest, that he signed. But how do you see this business, bruv?
More the same, Dan. When I heard the news today, it didn't surprise me at all. I actually, to be honest with you, I actually thought the deal was already done. I thought we'd already got that done early this season. It was just kind of strange it came out now, but I don't see any problem with it personally. We were always going to give him that contract. I think for him, just as a player now, once you go into that threshold, there's a level of expectation. Which, like I said, I know he's had a rough year this year, but this is something that people are going to be looking at going forward. But he's earned the contract based off of merit, what he's done in the past. So for me, it's really a non-starter. So I mean, it's just, will he be able to live up to the contract, and will he be able to regain his form that we've seen in the past few years? And for me, I really don't have an issue with it. And it was, like I said, it was always going to be given to him. We all knew that. Everybody on this panel knew this season that the new contract was coming. There was no way Saka was going to walk out of this football club. So for me, it is what it is, and we'll see how.
Sorry, can I cut you? Sorry, just ask you. Let me ask you a question, like on this question. Yeah, you see, when you say or when we as a group say, if he earned his contract, yeah, what would you would like regard as earning his contract? Like, what would be worth?
What he's put. Well, you have to keep in mind he's getting the contract based off of what he's done in the past, his past work. in anticipation on what he's going to do in the future. So when we say earning his contract, he's going into a new. He's fulfilled his terms of his first deal, and now he's moving into another level of now you're the club's highest earner, and when you become the club's highest earner, what comes with that? Responsibility. So we're going to see now how things perform as he goes forward. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to say it in a negative light or anything. I'm just saying that now he's going to have to go to another level. He's going to have to take his game to another level.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I agree with you. I think that level of contract is the same contract as a, you know what I mean? Like, not to say the Ronaldos and stuff, but the highest earners in the game, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? That's the best players in world football, like the Salahs and the Hazards and the Haalands, isn't it? So I'm agreeing with you 100%.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's it then.
No, fair play to you. Kenny, do you see this differently than the panel, or are we all on the same page here, bruv?
Just a mute, yeah. Look, it's a no-brainer. Look, when you give players like Saka that length of contract, not just doing it for his footballing ability, you're doing it for his markability. He's a very marketable player. Remember, remember he's got a lot of image rights. You know, he's giving his image rights to the football club. So the club are recompensing him by giving him that massive contract. And rightly so, he's the face of the football club. You know, he's definitely going to sell the most shirts than everyone else. That's going to go in his contract. You know, he's Arteta sees him as our best player. I agree with Arteta and that he's our best player. So it's a no-brainer. The thing with Saka, if you're talking about injuries as well, one thing is that I stand by everything I said last season. And D was on the show when I said it last season. I said that Bukayo Saka should have been rested towards the end of last season. They should be brought back. That we have problems with. He's an injury waiting to happen, and we should have got the proper rest and recuperation. I mean, I'm not saying after the event. I said it at the time. We were never going to win that Champions League. So it was culpable neglect. And now our best player, who I believe is our best player, I don't think he's world class, but he's our best player, is a stop and start of his injuries. This is the player that could take us over the line, should take us over the line. When games get difficult and when teams are camping out, this is the guy that used to create something out of nothing and win his matches, just like that. And now we're worried about whether he's going to be fit enough for this season. Yes, we've got a sizable cushion, a very good cushion, but when it gets to nitty-gritty, the championship rounds, round 11, 10, 11 and 12, and it gets to the judges' scorecard, that's where you need that man. That's what I'm really angry about, the decision to overplay him, especially when he's come out from a significant injury. And I just hope he comes back to his best, and I think he will. Because I'll tell you now, the trophies we could win this year, a lot of it would be down to him. But as I said, great business decision. It was always going to be that he sells the most shirts, in terms of merchandise. He's the face of the football club. And at the end of the day, the club are protected, they're secure. You can't really compare him to Mesut and to Aubameyang. Aubameyang was extenuating circumstances. Don't do that to you. Shouldn't really do that to your manager, but it's your mum. But you shouldn't do that to your manager. In terms of Mesut Ozil, as I said, one of the how do I say it? Let's just say he's like his time at Arsenal was the equivalent of a crap sequel to a blockbuster film, and I say that with chest. Giving him that contract is a complete waste of time. Should have sold him. He was never the Mesut Ozil of Barcelona, and towards the end of his contract, again he was causing problems behind the scenes. Saka's not that player. Saka's delivered for us. However, he needs to get back to his best, because the other day I don't want him to get into that. I don't also have discussions that we're having about Martin, about whether he should be moved on and whether Martin's come to the end of the road. I don't want that for Saka.
No, I agree. I think anyone doubting what he's on a week, I'll be real with you. The reason he's on that is because we stuck Kai Havertz on 280k a week. That's the reason that he's on 300. So if anyone believes that this is a crazy amount, where they got that from, well, blame the signing of Kai Havertz then. Whether I'm not talking about Kai Havertz's performances and his technical ability, I'm talking about the fact that we signed him and stuck him on 280. That decision 2 seasons ago meant that now everybody else will be on 300k very quickly. And they're pretty much on 250 to 300 now, whether your name's Saliba, Rice, Odegaard, or Saka. They're all going to be on that. And anybody who wants now a new contract, they're going to look at Kai Havertz and gone 280? Really? Oh, okay, well, I want 290 at the bare minimum then. And this is why very, very quickly you get all of your squad on 300k a week, which is why I go back to that signing being a crazy, crazy one in my opinion. But
but also though, Dan, it is the going rate these days. I mean, rival fans can say what they like, right? And okay, Salah, for an example, he's been there, he's done it with Liverpool. That's the reason why he got the contract. But I think if we all sat there without taking into consideration what Salah had achieved for Liverpool, we'd probably all say that they were mental for putting a 31-year-old player on such big money, considering that it was inevitable that at some point, especially when you reach your 30s, you're going to hit a decline. Talk the same for Manchester United. Yeah, again, Casemiro, look at the big money that he's on. And I know he's got winning experience over at Real Madrid, but he's a man who was in his 30s when they gave him that contract, 300 grand plus. Raheem Sterling at Chelsea, right? He's just been shoehorned out on loan to bloody Feyenoord because he can't get a kick in the Chelsea team. He's on 325 grand a week. So, like, what are we talking about here? Because for me, that's the going rate now. And I'd rather see, like the boys were saying, I'd rather see somebody like Saka on that money than a Kai Havertz. Somebody who has, although we haven't won trophies, somebody who has actually, carried the football club at times. Let's just be real about it. He has. He was one of the players who took us on his shoulders at such a young age and elevated us to higher than what we should have been, considering the lack of quality that we had in the squad. So I think, providing he comes back from his injury, and I don't think you'll see the best of Saka for the remainder of this season, because I just think that he's going to be recuperating from that injury, and it's going to take time. It is going to take time, but he's still young enough. He's very durable, Saka, as well. Very durable, and I think he will come back from that injury, and he will be the Bukayo Saka that we know and love. So I think it's a good investment, me personally.
I think as well, what we got to remember is I don't really give a damn how much people are on. Like, if you win me the league and everyone's celebrating, you're going to the parade, Dan. No, I'm not, because I'm really disappointed at how much these players are on a week. I couldn't give a damn. Like, I really couldn't care how much these players are on a week. It doesn't bother me. It does some people. What bothers me, if you're giving somebody £300,000 a week and they're not performing, then we can have that discussion. But then again, at the same time, it's not us who's put him on that, and he's not put himself on that. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's always a little bit of both on that. And now that he's got that big wages, he's going to have a hell of a lot more pressure, Bukayo Saka. So I hope that he can handle that, because, I love the kid and I want to see the best of him. I hope we do see the best of him. But really and truly, how much he's earning a week, I really don't care. I've got to be honest. Before I move, I just wanted to bring up this super chat because it's kind of relevant. It's from Jaden. He says, Saka ain't worth the money. I've never seen this predictable system player win us a trophy. Madueke clears him right now. I disagree. Saka has never been world class. That's not such a mad statement at the end there, but the Madueke clearing him thing, I just don't get it. I understand he's more direct and he beats his man, but the output, I mean, I think he's got 2 goals in the Premier League, Madueke. Like, let's just say how it is. Saka's got 4 and he's having a bad year. Madueke's got half of that.
Madueke does clear Saka in running the ball out off the pitch and giving it back to the opposition. Yeah, absolutely. But apart from that, nah, not at all.
Nah. I don't know. Look, there might be an opportunity. We were speaking this morning, me and Kenny and Russ and Chris, about Saka playing in the 10. And I know, D, you were a big fan of that and said you wanted to see that for quite some time. And I actually quite liked it. I was against Wigan, so I'm not going to go too overboard. But do you think there might be an opportunity to see Saka against Wolves in the 10 again, bruv?
I've been saying this for the longest time. I think I've been saying it for a long time. Well, Saka, to me, is an attacking midfielder in a central position. That's where it'd be. Like, I don't understand how we're still playing him on the right wing, I'll be honest, especially as we're struggling in the 10 position. Like, right now we've got a Madueke who's not the greatest, but he's playing okay on the right wing, and in the 10 position we're struggling to find the answer. Eze, when he plays, we think, we miss Odegaard. When Odegaard plays, we'll play Eze there. Saka, to me, would be honestly think if he plays in a 10, it will go to new heights that we weren't ready for. Because you got a guy, the most intelligent player in our team. People don't give him the credit for how intelligent this player is. He's not the most skillful player. He's one of the most intelligent players. That's his biggest attribute, that he's a mid-20-year-old that plays like he's 35. That's what is so good about him. He's so intelligent. You haven't got to teach him how to play football. He just understands where to be and movements and stuff like that. But I honestly believe that you got a player that can pass and move, you got a player that can run, and you got a player that can shoot. He can shoot at the edge of the box. You got a player that can shoot from the edge of the box. It's dangerous. So I feel we're missing a trick by waiting so long. And I think it also gives you an opportunity to now get excited again. I think we need to get excited again. I think we need to feel something new, something fresh, to kind of be like, you know what, this might be the thing that can change the dynamic of how we're playing. I think that's what we need at the minute, and I honestly think Saka would potentially spearhead us to the title if he moves to the attacking midfield position, man. And I really mean that. I've been saying this for ages, bro.
The only thing I disagree with you on, D, right, is I think it's more than just a quality issue or an intelligence issue in that number 10 role. I think it's a system issue, because it seems to be no matter who we put in that 10, they're not coming up with the goods in terms of we're not creating so many chances to score goals regularly.
No, but we don't play with a 10 though, do we? That's the point. We play with 2-8.
That's true, but I'm talking about in the more, because I'm assuming you're talking about in the more.
I agree exactly with what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So the only thing that I'd sort of come back with and say, you're right, Saka's a very intelligent player, but so is Eberechi Eze. Eberechi Eze is an extremely intelligent player as well, but at times this season he's looked lost in that position, and the reason being is because the system doesn't allow him to have the freedom that is required in that position, because he's having to do that defensive work so much. And I think it wouldn't be much different if you played Saka there.
I think the reason why I think it'd be completely different, and the reason why I'd say that is, one, Saka's been at the club for a long time. He understands a lot more. Eze's only just started. We have not seen the best of Eze. We don't know if he's going to come good next year or the year after. That's the first thing. The second thing with Saka is far more direct than Eze is. That's the difference. It's not so much about Eze's not a runner with the ball. Eze's a pass and mover. He's a skillful player. Saka is not as skillful as Eze. Saka is less skillful, but he's more efficient. So in that position, you need an efficient player to really get the most out of that team. That's the point I'm making.
I don't know about that. Like I say, I think for me, the system is the problem, because Arteta wants everybody to do their defensive work, which is fine. It's understandable and that. But at times, no matter who we play in that sort of attack-minded midfield position, they're so deep, they're so focused on doing their defensive work, that all of a sudden we forget that we're attack-minded midfielders that also have to provide our attack and create opportunities as well. Doesn't matter whether we play Odegaard there. We've seen from Odegaard, right? Odegaard is a lot better player than what he is showing right now, because we've seen it. Eze is a lot better player than what we've seen at times this season with him in that role. But there's no freedom that's being allowed in that position, and that's the problem for me. And it doesn't seem to matter who you play in that, and intelligent player or not.
Yeah, but they're very different players. Like the players that you're talking about in terms of Odegaard. Odegaard is a pass and move player.
Yeah,
who doesn't shoot, who can't shoot. So of course, when you've got a system, when Odegaard's not playing well, you're going to be able to see his flaws a lot more than Saka. Saka's an individual player that is able to create on his own. So if there's a moment of time in a situation, do you know how many chances Odegaard had against PSG when we went out? Where he had edge of the box shooting opportunities that nothing to do with the system, just sniffing out the danger at the right time, right, and the ball fell to him. Saka's far more clinical than Odegaard is in certain aspects, which is why...
Is he more clinical than Eze? From the edge of the area, is he more clinical than Eze?
Who, Saka? that's a matter of opinion, isn't it? You might think Eze's more, you might think Saka's more, but Eze's only just come to our club.
No, I'm not even saying that Eze is more or Saka is more. I'm just saying, from an attributes point of view, I see similarities between Eze and Saka, which is why I think that if Saka was to move to that 10 role, yes, he's been here a lot longer. He knows this, he understands the system a lot longer. But I feel that even if you put Saka in that 10 role, we wouldn't see much of a difference because he'd be so focused on doing the defensive work, like what our 10s are, that the attack side of our game. But basically, what I'm saying is Arteta needs to just give his 10 more freedom, and we would see better performances from our current 10.
I get that, but the two things, the difference about that is, one, Saka's naturally more hardworking than Eze is anyway, naturally. So, so where you think Eze lacks, Saka does that naturally anyway, works hard and presses hard. That's the first thing. The second thing is, Eze has not had a chance to prove that he's the best 10 in the league, because he's had a couple of games there. He's on the left, he's on the bench, he's in the 10, he's up, down, left, right. He hasn't had a chance. So we don't actually know. We can't really compare Eze in the 10 and Saka in the 10 because he hasn't had a chance to play a run of games there. Arteta doesn't trust him enough.
Can I quickly ask D, because I hear what you're saying about Saka in the middle, and I know you've been crying out for a while. So I'll give you two options. Which do you think is stronger? Saka in the 10 and Madueke on the right, or Saka on the right and Eze in the 10? Which of those two options is better? If you're picking a team, would you put Saka 10 and Madueke right, or Saka right and Eze 10?
It's a good question, Dan, man. The only reason why it's such a good question is because of Madueke's output, his lack of goal scoring. That's a really good question. I think Saka is so dangerous. I think he could spearhead us to the league. So I would say I'm more likely to put Saka in the 10, put your best player in the most dangerous position. I understand what you're saying, Eze in the 10 and Saka right. I do understand that, but I'm going to put my best player in the most dangerous position. That's what I'll do. You
could play both. You could play Saka and Eze and then drop one of Rice.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Saka has output from the right wing anyway.
Not enough.
Maybe not enough, but he gets output from the right wing. And Eze has proven this season, given his lack of game time and all that lot, that he also gives us output.
Eze uses the ball too much. This is the point.
Yeah, that's the whole. This is the annoying thing, though, D. We're so stuck in this. Oh, the system. The whole point of having a attack-minded midfielder is they are supposed to make the risky passes and potentially lose the ball and turn it over. Like, look at Bruno Fernandes at Man United, for example. Right, he loses the ball an awful lot, but he creates an awful lot, and he sometimes single-handedly wins the game.
Do you like that?
Do you know?
Do you like what Bruno Fernandes does? Do you like that?
Yeah, I don't mind it, because the point being is we've got a back four, which we would all argue is the best in the league, potentially the best in the world, and we've also got two more like a midfield pivot of two more defensive-minded midfielders in that middle behind our attacking midfielder. So why can't you rely on these players to do the defensive work for the attack-minded player and let the attack-minded player have the freedom to do what he should be doing in attack?
I'll tell you why. Because when Bruno Fernandes isn't assisting or scoring, it becomes a massive detriment to your team. That's the reason why. So
it did when he was playing. It did when he was playing in the 8. I agree with you. But when Bruno plays in the 10, and he's got a defensive structure behind him that is solid, it is not required for him to do as much defensive work. That's where I'm going with it. I think we have such a strong defensive line and a midfield two behind our attacking midfielder that we can almost rely on them a little bit more to do the defensive work and allow our 10 to have more freedom to do the attacking side of the game.
I'm not mad at what you're saying. I'm not mad at it. I understand what you're saying. But the reason why people class Bruno Fernandes as one of the better 10s is because of his output, not because of his gameplay. It's two different things. So his output will make you feel like, oh yeah, he's getting goals and assists, so he's one of the best 10s. So that it depends. Like I say, everyone always looks for the output, which is what I like. I believe Saka could get the Bruno Fernandes output with the gameplay of Odegaard. That's my point. I think Saka has every attribute to be able to be almost a perfect 10. That's
But
my
again, if
point.
you go back to the 21, I think it's 21-22, when we first competed for the league, yeah, if you look at Odegaard in that season, Odegaard had the freedom. You didn't actually see Odegaard dropping deep, collecting the ball, doing as much defensive work, and you see how effective Odegaard can be as well. So this is where I'm getting to. The system is the problem, not the players in particular. Although, when obviously we discuss Odegaard in a bit, I'll be one to say I think it's time to move on from him, but we'll get to that later.
Look, I'll be real. I think it's a good debate to have, and I think Saka being brought into the middle is definitely something I didn't expect to be talking about this season. But I know that D is an advocate of it and said that he wants to see it. But Matty, is Brandon right about this system thing? Because we're talking about Eze, we talk about Odegaard, we talk about Saka, we've spoken about Madueke, Martinelli, Trossard, Jesus, Havertz, and Gyökeres. All of this season, I'm looking at the top scorers now. Let me read it out very, very quickly. In our top four, Rice and Zubimendi are our two double pivots, and they're in the top four for scorers. That's worrying for me. Declan Rice has got 4 goals. Zubimendi's got 5. Our top scorer in the Premier League this is Victor Gyökeres with 8. Trossard's got 5. Everybody else has got below that. Saka 4, Marino 4, who's now out injured. Eze with 4, and then Gabriel and Timber have got 3 and 2.
Where's own goals, Dan? Where's own goals?
Yeah, own goals is right up there. I think it's up to, I think we're 6 or 7, something like that. But I don't know, mate. Is there an issue with Arsenal going forward? Because we are scoring goals, and I do, have no problem if we're winning games. But has Brandon got a point about the system thing?
Yeah, I think he does. I think for me, the whole thing with Saka in the middle, I was surprised this weekend when I actually heard about it. I had to see it when I got home because I didn't watch the game Sunday until I got back home. So I was kind of shocked when I was, in my threads, everybody was talking about it. But it was a welcome sight because Saka is, we got to keep in mind, the man is coming off a grade 3 hamstring. And I don't know if anybody's ever went through a bad hamstring pull. I hadn't had a grade 3, but I've had a bad one. And I'm here to tell you, it's not fun. It's not fun running back and forth, at least for a year. So he's going to probably have to sit in the middle until he's back to his normal self. He'll probably get pushed back out wide, more than likely, with the way that the manager plays. So, but the big thing here is that we're coming down the final stretch of games. And we're going to have to try different things to get over the line. Everybody on this panel wants us to win a trophy this year, wants us to win the league. And we're going to have to find ways to get over the line. And I, for one, with any way that we can get over the line, I'm for it. If that means putting him there, put him there. Because you can't put him out wide. You saw last week when he just couldn't run. He couldn't sprint. And the last thing we need right now is to have another injury from him or anybody else coming down the stretch. Because let me put this into layman's terms. If we got 11 games left in the league now? 11 games. This is just the league I'm talking. Was it 12 or 11 now?
12, yeah.
Yeah, 12. If we get somebody that's out for 4 to 6 weeks, that's major trouble. We're in major trouble there. Plus, you still got Champions League. Plus, you still got FA Cup. Plus, we got a League Cup final. So we've got to try to start preserving bodies here. Kenny hit on this about 2 months ago. We have to try to keep everybody fit, and we've got to try to make sure that we can get that we can, not run out of steam here towards the end. And whether people want to believe it or not, we're hanging on. We got players hanging on. Calafiore dropping the other day. As soon as he come back, he's back out. You've got Timber starting to look a little leggy here and there. So if the manager needs to, and everybody knows my feelings on this formation. I've said time and time, I wouldn't mind seeing us play a 4-4-2 or whatever. So for me, anything that he can do to try to freshen it up, try to get something, try to get some goals, I'm for it. But we also have to remember that we do have players who are coming off injuries. Ben White, that's another one that just popped into my head. Players that are injury prone or coming off injuries. Kai Havertz is out for 4 to 6 weeks as well. So we're going to have to start trying to preserve bodies to get over the line. And if that means moving people around or moving players like Saka to try to accommodate his frailties at the moment, I'm all for it. But just remember that, he's probably not gonna go back out wide like that. I take that back. You just never know with this manager, but he as of right now, him in the middle for me is perfectly fine. Everybody knows how I feel. I just Odegaard is just no. Put somebody else over there that can get the ball forward before we deal with that again. But I just heard today that he's probably gonna be back. So we'll see how it goes. I for one welcome something different in the team, but I don't look for him to do much out wide considering the problems he's had all year long with that hamstring, and the numbers are showing it. So,
yeah, facts. Stricto, there's rumors that Odegaard could be back. Saka is obviously back, and Havertz is back for the North London derby. I'm hearing, so there could be some good news injury wise. What do you expect to see happening in this team in the attack-minded sort of section, bro? I think everyone's sort of coming back now. What are you telling me?
I mean, for sure, there's high expectations now. Coming on to the last leg of the league, we've done so far to stay where we are. We've done so far to be jabbing City away. Our jab so far has been effective. 4 points clear at the moment. We could jab them to 7 points. I think we have to have these conversations where the players have to step up. I mean, too many times I've seen, for example, the Brentford game being one. I expected us to actually win that game and actually win that comfortably. And at times they've shown just signs of like mental fatigue. And this is something we've seen over the years that essentially has cost us one way or the other, but we've had injuries as well. But for me, it's always been the mentality, like how much do you not want to win this? How much do you want to make a statement? Every game you play should be an opportunity to make a statement. And I look at like our forward line. I look, obviously I know we've had that conversation about the number 10s and such, but for me, it's more than that. You've just read out a list of all our scorers, and it's been everyone contributing. Now, what I'm not liking is players keeping it safe. Players not wanting to take the risk. Players like I don't know who was still talking about Bruno Fernandes just now and how he takes risks. Brendan, he takes risk. Like I'd rather that. When we had Alexis Sanchez, how many times was he losing the ball a game? He used to always try, and always something would happen. You know what I'm saying? Like he just kept banging on the door until the hinges came off. And I prefer that style of attacking more than I do the ones where you're retaining the ball. You can see a man running in behind, but you choose to pass sideways or stall and not make that pass. And that's sort of like what annoys me. And it seems like it doesn't matter who's back, whether Havertz is back. I mean, Havertz has come back. So we've played better or played different, should I say, rather than better. We played different. And sometimes different might look better, but it might not be. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what just frustrates me, that we might have the players back, but the mentality to want to try something new. Listen, if Arteta wants to put Saka in a 10, put him in a 10. Saka, one thing we know about him, he's very, very versatile. I mean, I think that plays more to his intelligence more than any ability that he has. He's very versatile. But I want to start seeing us at this stage now making a statement. Now we've got Wolves who are bottom of the table or somewhere thereabouts. This game should be a breeze for us. It should be a breeze with the right mentality. If you go into that game saying, all right, boys, we're trying to win the league, they're trying to stay up. We're in two different sides of the spectrum. I don't want us to go into that game being too cautious. You see in the passes, and I don't know whether it's, for instance, Timber, as much as I sang his praises all season, but sometimes he's a bit hesitant with the ball over the top. Big Gabby, best defender in the world. At times, he could help the midfield with the balls into the attacking areas, like rather than just keeping it safe into midfield or back to the goalkeeper. Maybe it's time for Ben White to come, because Ben White offers us so much in the attacking third, with the overlaps. He gives Saka the time and the space to come inwards or to find Odegaard to make something happen. So I don't know, maybe it's time for Arteta to start his system's working for sure. We are where we are based on his system. I don't think he's changing it. whether the panel disagrees or not. The system has got us where we are, but possibly a personnel change. I was talking to D yesterday, and I know he's gonna laugh, and I was saying maybe try Norgard. I don't know in the 10.
I was thinking you shouldn't have said it, bro.
Maybe try Norgard. So maybe sometimes it's not really
Norgard in the 10 is mental, bro.
Maybe the higher attacking midfield, because what I've seen from it. But point being is sometimes you might not need to change the system, but you might need to change the personnel if it isn't working out. I don't mind
Norgard coming in, but not in the 10. Surely
in the 10 is
I don't know if I'm gonna agree with it, but it's just an example to say sometimes you need to do the most audacious things. Now, I've watched Eze play, and Eze loses the ball without trying to make anything happen, and that's what frustrates me. He doesn't lose the ball because he's trying to make that risky pass, like, you know, diag or whatever. Like, he loses the ball because of his lack of awareness of what's going on around him. You know, you see that game at Inter Milan, like, case in point, like he's just losing the ball, just basic stuff. And that's why I get frustrated with him. And that's why I always say, do you know what? Get Odegaard on, because I know what I get with Odegaard. At this moment, I'm not knowing what I'm getting with Eze. And we know Eze is a talented player. We know what he can do. We saw it at Wigan. I'm not going to sing to the hills for that because it was Wigan, but we can see the glimpses of his quality. But at times when he is starting, he has no awareness of what's going on around him. Bruno Fernandes loses the ball trying to try. He's losing the ball from not trying. And that is the issue I have. So sometimes it's not so much a system thing. It's possibly a player thing. You know, let's try other players. I know we ain't got the time to be faffing about to find out who can play where, or can Saka play in a 10 at this stage of the season. But then I suppose there's positives in making those changes, because then it makes you unpredictable. Saka in the 10 becomes a conundrum for defenders now, because how do you go at him now? Because you can't just put him to his right foot, you can't just put him to his left. How do you approach Saka, you know, coming at you directly, you know, straightforward, not at an angle? So I suppose little stuff like that you might need to try. I don't know. I'm not Arteta, but yeah, that's my 2 pence on that.
Yeah, man, look, there is ways that you can try and change it up, man. We can play 2 attacking midfielders against Wolves tomorrow night. In my opinion, I'll be playing Eze and Saka. I picked my team earlier, and I'd have Eze, Saka playing ahead of Norgard. I'd rest Rice and Zubimendi for this one. Bring them on if we do need them. Hopefully we won't, because it's Wolves, but you never know. But at least bring them on if you need to. Madueke can start. Martinelli, I think, for me, just because Trossard seems to have got a knock. I don't know how fit he is. And then up top, Gyökeres. And then the back line for me, I play Ben White because Timber just... Bless him, he needs a rest, man. He's playing too many games of football. He was awful the other night. And then I bring Gabriel Saliba back in. And Capia, I think, will start at left back because Calafiori's out, I believe, still. And obviously, Raya in goal. But I go strong against Tottenham from the North London derby, of course, and all the players would come back in. So, look, man, I'll be honest. I do feel like these next 2 games are definitely must win, Kenny, because Manchester City are piling on the pressure. It's a chance for us to go 7 points clear. It's a chance for us to show Man City that we now allow them to have a bit of pressure to try and catch us back up by try to get it back to 4 points. So these next 2 games are must win for me, bruv.
100%, yeah. You know, Wolves, you know, like, are preparing for life in the Championship, but then going to be some players who are going to put themselves in the Championship window, but we've got to be ruthless. You know, we're not good. It's not going to be easy. We're not going to go out and, you know, impose ourselves. We're going to give it half an hour, and then if the opportunities arise, we'll take the game away from them. But we'll, you know, try and play within ourselves in order to save ourselves for the big game, which is Tottenham, where it's going to be an emotional game. The manager's been fired. They've got a new interim coach in. You know, their prize this season, apart from, you know, trying to progress as far as they can in the Champions League, is to stop us winning the title. You know, they want to be. You know, their title this season is probably, you know what, we beat Arsenal at Lane all day. Arsenal dropped points at Lane, and they dropped the title, so they're going to be very, very motivated by that. But saying that, in terms of the personnel, yeah, the personnel is definitely be different. He's going to be the big guns. Saka will play. I think I don't know if Havertz will play, but I do think that, you know, every place is. You know, like I said, he's set in stone, but the number 10 one is up for grabs because we don't know what's happening with Odegaard. Eze, again, another big game, another derby away from home. It was painful watching him at Brentford. I was in the stands. It was really painful. And what was even more painful was that it's watching him get, knowing he's going to be substituted at half time. Sometimes it's hard watching him play, because when he does play well, it's like the bath water is lukewarm. It's not hot. Apart from Tottenham, it's lukewarm. He does just enough. He's found the thing with Eze and Arsenal is that when we're all celebrating Eze coming to the football club, it's only when we realised who our manager was that we thought, oh shit. And I swore because kids are watching, but oh shit, this may not work out, because the demands that Arteta puts on these players in terms of work rate off the ball. We've seen many a player lose their place because they're not good off the ball and because they let players go past them. And I thought at Crystal Palace, it wasn't so much an issue for Eze. Of course, if they go Anfield, then they'll go up. Of course, he's going to do his job, but normally 9 out of 10, his best work is in the last third. His starting position was on the left, but he did his best work where he was allowed to have that kind of freedom. He was allowed to make those runs because he could win Crystal Palace games. It was never going to happen at Arsenal, And the problem we got is that we can't wait for him to adapt, because, as I say, it's all about this season is a must. We have to win trophies. We can't carry players. It doesn't matter if it's Eze, Odegaard, or maybe Saka. It's one of the cases like if you're not cutting it, you'll be left out of the team. And then someone else will take your place, and that's the problem we got with Eze. I don't know it's going to work out for him, because Arteta's not going to change. I don't think Eze can adapt to the way we play. They have this lovely song, but when Eze first came to the club, well, they might have to change the lyrics from what I've seen this season. Sad. But,
you know what, Kenny? Sorry to cut you. Eze made the call. This is documented to Arteta, saying, "Look, is there still space for me over here?" And the reason why I bring that up is, surely Eze knows what Arteta demands of the players. He knows at the very minimum is hard work. Nobody on that pitch gets away with anything. That's just Arteta's demands. And yet he still wanted to come, like at the risk of his England plays for the World Cup.
Yeah, but he's come because he believes that Arsenal are now in, and he's right, that we're now in a position to win trophies. We're competing at all 4 fronts, and that he's going to play in the Champions League on a regular basis. We're now good enough to get past the last 16 in the Champions League. So he's come to fulfil his football ambitions. But until you get there, until you play in a match, you know it, but it's that knowing it and imagining it is a lot different from actually getting on the pitch and doing it and thinking, oh my God, Matty Cash is coming at me. Oh no, what do I do? It's hard during the match. And I think the thing with Eze is that he's playing within himself because he wants to stay in his team. He's keeping it safe, giving the ball, safe passes, not doing things that we like Eze to do. Wigan, that's fantastic. Wigan they're crap. But when we saw him against Carrot and Marte, he was trying too hard. It was like he was. It wasn't just him; it was Madueke as well. That when you play a team like that, you try so hard that it looks a mess. And I think that's the thing with Eze. Tottenham was fantastic for him. Everything came off. Spurs pathetic. He got his hat trick, but that's it.
But sorry, Ken. Sorry to cut you, Ken. Sorry about that. But do you know what it is? What I've kind of had enough of is, like, Eze cost 68 million from Crystal Palace, right? You've come to a club with one of the best clubs. So all of a sudden, every player needs everything perfect to have a good game.
Yeah,
he has to. What's going on here? What you can't perform in the position that you've been in with the team. What you can't work hard. What's going on here?
If it's not your game, sometimes it takes time to adapt. But this season, in other seasons, you give players time to adapt. Zubimendi is learning the job, but he's adapting a lot better than Eze is, because in terms of tactically, he's a better
so then
player.
you don't play.
Yeah,
but hang on, there's also another element as well. Right? We wanted Eze at the football club because he's a different profile of 10 to Odegaard. Yeah, you know what you get with Odegaard. It's very safe, very sideways, very, he won't really play that risky pass unless it's absolutely the only pass that he can make. The reason why we wanted Eze is because it's different profile altogether.
Yeah, but we've got a bit.
While I understand he's got to adapt to the way that we play, at the same time, our manager has got to adapt to get the best out of him. Do you know what I mean?
It's not going to happen. Mikel Arteta, in his mind, feels that if he wins anything this season, especially this league, he's going to do it his way. He will never adapt. The only player who has that kind of freedom is Bukayo. This is Bukayo's team. Victor has to adapt. Madueke will have to adapt. This is Saka's team. You were talking about Saka playing the number 10 and would he have these days? Mikel Arteta still sees Bukayo as his match winner, so Bukayo might get a little bit more license than Eze would, and Odegaard. I think for me, Bukayo, if he ever gets his place back, should play as a false number 9. That's not a kick in the teeth for Gyökeres or kick in the teeth for Jesus or Havertz. I just think that with Bukayo Saka, if you look at Bukayo Saka's record in terms of goal output, the fact he can make things happen, can you imagine if he's fully fit and at his best, and as you guys say, he's direct? Can you imagine the amount of goals he would score in that false number 9? It will smash it. I'm convinced of it.
Let me just 1 sec, right? Let me just read this out because it's kind of worrying when you talk about system and stuff like that. I kind of hear what Dee's saying about Eze needs to come in and just knows what the club is. Semenyo, he was able to go to Man City. He didn't need no settling period to go to a big club. He smashed it from the off, right? So I don't really feel with that. What I will say is this: there's definitely been a system change at Arsenal in the attack because the stats don't lie. And this was sent to me by Tom Canton, right? And it was quite worrying when I read it out. So Gyökeres, Eze, and Madueke have 14 league goals between them this season, right? Which is pretty horrific in my opinion, but it is what it is. That's 1 goal every 217 minutes. In the 23-24 season, where we missed out in the last game of the season to Man City in the league, Eddie Nketiah, Smith Rowe, and Vieira had a better goals per game than that. Now, I'm not saying that those 3 players are better because they're not, but the system was clearly different. In that 23-24 season, after the same amount of games played, 79% of Arsenal's goals, which was 62 goals, were scored by our forwards or midfielders. At the same stage last season, only 66% of the goals were scored by them. And this season, it's just 58%. So basically, Arsenal are saying that we've gone from an attack-minded side to a not very attack-minded side to basically our defenders and midfielders now score. So if your name's Rice or Zubimendi or Gabriel or Timber or whatever, you pretty much got a good chance of scoring. But if you're in our attack, you probably won't be guaranteed a goal. And that is a system thing. That ain't all the attackers are crap.
And players are off form as well. The players that you Odegaard's off form, Saka's off form. 2 years ago, they were in form. And let's not forget, 2 years ago, we had teams like Sheffield United. No disrespect, we're beating them 6-0, Palace 5-0, Burnley 5-0, beating teams, having field days, equivalent to the second half of the 91-92 season. Teams are different now. They're gonna play differently against Arsenal. They're going to be more camped out. They'll be more organised. Fear Arsenal, not give as much away. So that's the stats you're talking about now is a combination, maybe of the way we play in terms of we're probably doing things differently, but those players are off form. We're playing a more regimented style, and teams are defending better against us, and sometimes in games they're better on the board against us.
Yeah, look, I read them stats and I couldn't believe it, if I'm honest. But let me come to the last question as a kind of panel discussion, because I feel like we haven't spoke about it enough yet, and I do want to get your opinions on this, people. And I don't mind who comes in on this question, right? But are we going to handle this pressure this season? Because Man City are putting it on us again. We're 4 points in front of them now. And I just want to get your thoughts as a panel to come to a kind of closing question on the show, because I feel like we're going to do it this season. I have to believe that. I can't not do this again. You can't be 7 points clear. If he loses this league title, I don't want to be Mikel Arteta at the end of this season. Trust me. So surely we'll do it this season. We've got the squad. Manchester City are not the Manchester City of old. Arsenal are not the same Arsenal. Surely I'm talking sense here, and I'm trying to be positive as I can that we're not going to throw this away. I don't mind who comes in.
Who knows, Dan? Who knows, really? Because, again, if you go back to the games that we've dropped points in recently, I wouldn't say it's a quality issue. I wouldn't say that we haven't had the chances to win them games. I would say very similar. Yeah, very similar to Stricto. It is a mental block with Arsenal, because you look at the Forest game. We had opportunities to win that game with Martinelli. He didn't kill the game. That's a mental issue for me. Liverpool, in the second half, we sat so deep that we was almost happy for a draw. Again, that's a mentality issue for me. The Brentford game, how weak and feeble we were to allow them back into the game, and then thereafter they equalised. They created the better chances. Let's just be real. That again for me is a mental thing. None of it's about quality. Yeah, we know we have the quality. You look at that squad, really and truly. Yeah, the position that we're in and the squad that we have compared to everybody else, and the depth that we have compared to everybody else, that squad alone should win us this league. Forget managerial and all the rest. That squad alone should win us this league. But sometimes to win major trophies, to win league titles in particular, it's not all about quality. It's all about what's up here and what's going on up here. And we know that Man City, they might not be the Man City of old, but they've got players that have been there, done it, won it, seen it before, right? So we need to get mentally switched on. Tomorrow's a massive game. A massive game. We have to go 7 points clear. We have to, because if we continue to give Man City, the sniff that we're giving them at the moment, eventually it's going to come and bite us if we're not careful. I personally believe that the cup final game is the real important game, because I think whoever wins that cup final, depending on how many points there are between us and City at that point, obviously if we're like 7, 8, 9 points clear, then I still think we'll win the league. But I think the cup final, from a mental standpoint, can either be really good for us or really damaging for us, and vice versa with Man City as well. So I think whoever wins that cup final potentially goes on to win the league. I am a little bit concerned about tomorrow because it's an away game. The players might, the players have had to travel on a coach down. They might not have been able to sleep in the same beds. You know who I'm talking about here, lead judges. Big up yourself. I mean, when I heard that, I had to laugh because I could just imagine, right? And this is only a joke, boys, but I could just imagine, after tomorrow. So, Declan, your home form's been very good this season. Why is it Arsenal have been dropping so many points away from home? Well, I had to sleep on a camp bed with Calafiori last night, and we had to top and tail, and the mattress is like thin as Rizzler and all that lot. It's just mad.
In fairness to judges, I did speak to him about it, and I said, "What?"
I know.
He said, "No, I've been clipped up dirty," because the question was not why did Arsenal not win the game. It was what's the difference between playing at home and playing away?
Playing away, yeah.
And I was like, what is this I'm hearing about you saying this, judges? And you did clear it up, man. But you're right. Look, I feel like tomorrow, every game's a banana skin when you're in a title race and you've bottled a title before, yeah. But
tomorrow has to be a statement, Dan, because Liverpool, the Man City Liverpool game, Man City played poorly in that game, and they somehow managed to win that game. And it was the two players that have been there, done it, and won it before that dragged them through that game. In the end, Bernardo Silva came up with the goods to get him the equaliser. Haaland scored a huge high-pressure penalty at the end to win it. And then they went and slapped Fulham, right? It was over and done with in the first half. Then you look to Arsenal now against a tough Brentford side, don't get me wrong. But then you look to Arsenal now to say, cool, Man City have just sent a statement. They've beat Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in God knows how many years, and they've just slapped Fulham and ended the game in the first half. Now it's up to you, Arsenal, to send another statement by saying we're going to beat a very tough Brentford side that have only lost 2 games at home all season. And we failed to do that. So tomorrow we get another opportunity to really put a statement out there to say, look, this league title is ours. And I know it's only Wolves, and Wolves are bottom of the league. But that's more reason for us to go there and score 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah,
and say, look, this is ours.
I'm the opposite of that, Brandon. I'll be honest. Sorry to cut you. I don't think we need to be thinking about putting out statements. I think we need to just win the game. I'll be deadly serious. I think we need to just focus on winning the game and getting out of there and focusing on the next game. We can't start thinking about extra added on stuff that have got nothing to do with 3 points. I honestly believe that. I think the statement will be beating Man City in the final. That's the statement. The statement.
I think what Brendan's saying, is it goes back to the whole mentality thing. You can scamper over the line, 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, whatever.
You still give Man City hope. Yeah.
If you go there and say, we are the Arsenal, we're trying to bring this title home, the mentality you go into that game is that we're just going to strangle these lot till they can't breathe.
Yeah, but we did that though. When we lost to Man United, we went and played 2 games on the bounce. We scored 7 goals in 2 games. Yeah, the next 2 games, Leeds, and we did that the next 2 games, and then we draw at Brentford. It makes no difference. It makes no difference.
That's why it's about the mentality.
But we would
consistent with your mentality. It doesn't matter who you play and how you play them. It doesn't.
No, but we would have all rather.
You want to go and win. 11 winners.
We would all rather gone 1-0, 1-1, and won all 3 games than had 2 7-goal games, 2 4 and 3, and then draw at Brentford. We'd all rather have had 1-0 wins. I
just think at this stage of the season, we've got to do something to demoralise Man City, because when you look at I said about the cup final being the important game. When you look at our fixtures from now until the cup final, and then you look at Man City's fixtures from now until the cup final, I would say that they've got, easier fixtures than us. In fact, I would expect Man City will probably win all of them games up until the cup final. We've still got to go away to Brighton. We've still got to play Chelsea at home. We've still got to go away to Tottenham. So we need to do something to send out a signal to say, look, this is ours. Like, F you lot. Yeah, this is ours this season. It doesn't matter about you picking up form now after Liverpool. Yeah, we're going to slap Wolves for 5, and we're going to go and win our remaining fixtures up until the cup final. And then we're slapping you in the final as well. That's the sort of mentality I want to see.
I don't know. I feel like we've got to just focus on getting the 3 points and go home. I think we're getting too wrapped up in the mind games. Like, that's what if we've got a mentality issue, why are we now trying to play mind games? You know what I'm saying? We need to
I'm kind of in both boats. I'll tell you why, because we do need the 3 points, whatever. So I'm with D. However, I think if we were to scrape it across the line with an own goal in the 91st minute, I think a lot of the people are going to go, yeah, Arsenal ain't really changed. Wolves, is that a statement win? Not really. They got scraped across the line like they did at home. I kind of feel like this needs to be a 2-0, 3-0 comfortable, and we move. And I think we can do that. Don't get me wrong. I think we should do that. I think this is a side that will go a little bit more picking up.
We're just shallow boxing. The fact is that I can see where D's coming from, because at the end of the day, you think about it, Man City could have a great win in one of their matches, and everyone's, going, oh God, man, this is a great win. All the mood's up, and then we play it at 8 o'clock, and Martinelli scores from deflection. Arsenal still 4 points up, despite Man City's great victory and how much they worked their nuts off to win the match. We're still in front, and I think we're obviously with the pressures on us because we're the ones who are being chased. But the fact is that if we drop less points than Man City come to the end of the season, it'd be us celebrating, blocking traffic in Finsbury Park, Seven Sisters Road, and blocking traffic like Hornsey Road, blocking traffic all the way road. It'd be us. And I think that's the situation. But yeah, it's nice to play with a bit of panache. But this time, when you know it's like the boxing, when you're rounds 10, 11, and 12, when your arms are hurting because you're punching too much and you're tired, but you don't want to see your opponent being tired. You just say, this is going down the wire. We're going to crawl to this title, and I'll take it. And then maybe future title races, I'll demand more panache. But because
but do you not think...
I'm exactly what I was about to say.
I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying, but do you not think, like, to relieve a bit, because we seem to struggle a little bit under pressure, right?
Yeah, of course.
So do you not think, like, to relieve a little bit of pressure, we go out, we slap Wolves, and then that little bit of pressure is off, in the sense that everybody's not now talking about Arsenal being crap and getting over the line, like struggling to get over the line, sort of thing. Do you see what I mean?
I hate what you're saying, but Man City we expect to beat Wolves because Wolves are in this is like Sunderland 2006 settings. This is Derby 2008 settings with Wolves. I think where Man City will be demoralised is if we do go to Tottenham, big white hot atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, go to teams where they expect us to drop points and we win. I think that demoralises them more because they're thinking, well, bloody hell, mate, for blah blah's sake, when are these lot going to drop points? We're working our nuts off. Semenyo can't stop scoring. Holland's on his 30th goal. That I think that demoralises them more. I think the games they expect us to win, that's a given. But the games where they think, well, it could be difficult for us today, we win them. Seen it before because we've seen it with other teams. When Man City and Chelsea were competing, when Liverpool and Man City were competing, it's the game. The opposition is always going to look at that game and point that game or that weekend where they think, all right, we've got to beat. So we're Man City. We've got to beat Newcastle at St James's Park because Arsenal are playing the North London derby and they might drop points here. So if we win and Arsenal drop points, then we're back in it. They win their hard game at St James's Park. We go to North London derby, and
it's exactly that.
Yeah, although they're playing it yet, but if Spurs drop points, take points off us, the morale for Man City, they'll be thinking, right, they're giving us an in. But if they play and work their nuts off, and then we beat Spurs, it's like,
and that's where the mentality comes in.
No, but we had that with Liverpool when Liverpool lost to City. We all had that. We all thought, oh no, what they just beat Liverpool. City have come back. We got demoralised. What I don't want to do is go into Wolves thinking we've already got the 3 points. I don't want to start thinking about we've got to send a statement that the 3 points. Every game is going to be, you have to work hard to win every game. We saw that at Brentford already, where we thought, okay, we'll go Brentford, we win, and we keep the pressure on City. We didn't end up winning the game. I want to go into Wolves focusing on winning the game because Man City are going to look at Wolves like, yeah, Arsenal will beat Wolves, and if we don't, it's a bonus. But then they've got Tottenham and Chelsea coming up. That's what they're looking at, like, yeah, Tottenham and Chelsea. If we get through those games, then they will be like, yeah, okay, they'll be a bit more demoralized. I don't want to have a banana skin at Wolves for no reason. I don't want to do that for no reason.
Ultimately, 3 points is 3 points. Whether it's 3 points from Wolves, 3 points, it's 3 points. I'd rather win as many points as I can this season. Doesn't matter whether it's from Man City, Tottenham, Wolves, or Burnley, whoever. 3 points is 3 points. But I think my general point I'm trying to make in terms of mentality is that if you have the right mentality, yeah, even if you didn't win a game, that mentality sort of, they were unlucky there. If they play like that 9 times out of 10, they'll get a result. If you have the right mentality. But if you just scraping over the line, and at this point, don't get me wrong, I'll take that too. If you're scraping over the line, it's only a matter of time before the wheels come off. Do you get what I'm saying? But if you have the right mentality, you go down, for instance. You're not feeling sorry for yourselves. Oh, lads, fuck's sake, we'll go down, everything going against us. But the right mentality just takes you over the line, no matter what. Eventually will take you over the line. You go down, fuck it. Let's go, boys. 0-0. Up the other end, get your chances, score it. Game finishes, you win. That's what I'm talking about, mentality. And mentality is what I'm starting to see that we're not having. Yes, I'll take the 3 points all day long. I don't care is the result at this moment in time. But also, let's not ignore how far mentality can take you and how safe it will bring you back Do you get what I'm saying? I can definitely rely on that. That's the point I was trying to make.
What are you saying, Matty, about the mentality, bro?
Well, I just think that we're going to have to condition ourselves to know that this is going to come down to the wire. I was talking with Nomsky yesterday. He asked me what I thought about it, and I told him, I said, it's not going to be solved until the last 2 or 3 games of the season. And I agree. I've come to that realization. I think it's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But Brandon and D hit on something there. I think the penultimate match for us is going to be that cup final, because we're going to have to defeat that demon of being the shadow of city, and that has to be resolved this year. It has to be resolved this year, because if we don't resolve it, it could prove deadly for us towards the end of the season. I think that we've got to have whatever points we need on the board, whatever points we have, we need to have maximum allotment going into the city game, to where even if we had a slip up, wouldn't matter. And this goes back to why early in the season I was saying, even D, I keep telling people, first part of the season, I think you said 15, 18 points or something like that. You're like, that's what we need. And that's exactly what I was like, that's exactly what we need. We need cushion for in case you have a slip up. And I think that tomorrow's game, I think we'll win tomorrow's game. I'm highly concerned about the game this weekend, because they've got bulletin board material. And a lot of our fans will go, oh, well, they're trash. They're going to play with a lot more pride than they did the first time we played it. I know this. I know for a fact they're going to do it. The new manager's coming in there. He's going to try to install something. He's already hinted they're coming forward. They're going to play regardless of the fact. So, they're going to come out there and play. So we need to find a way to win the game tomorrow, win the game the next week, win something. We have to consistently win out. Me and Kenny, we have sat here all season and said we need to put together 6-7 games in a row. The first team, I'll make it real easy for you. The first team between us and City that goes on a nice long run. And let's not forget Villa. I had to tell somebody this morning. Villa's got an easy run of games coming up there towards the end of the stretch. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win the title or anything, but I'm just saying they've got a very, very, very easy run of games coming down.
And Villa, Matty, are the only team out of all 3 of us that have strung a winning run together.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Unai loves going on these crazy win streaks. And so whoever decides they want to take it upon themselves to go on a nice long winning streak will be the champions this year. I prefer it to be us. This year. So if we want to do it, everything is in order. You couldn't ask to be in a better situation. We've got a nice lead. All we need to do is go out and get the business done. If anybody remember, I don't know if I said it here or I was on somebody else's panel, towards the end of the season, if it's the last 3, 4, 5 games of the year and we getting own goals, people falling into the net with the ball, I don't care how we get over the line. Let's just get over the line. And at this stage, everybody has to lock in, including the manager. Everybody has to lock in.
What you said there is exactly my mind. You see the mentality and the statements. I'll worry about that late next year. I'll worry about that next year and the year after that when we try and win 2 and 3 and 4.
Let me tell you something. We're going to learn a lot about these players the next few weeks. We'll know who in this team has the mentality to want to win something going forward this year. You don't have to look any further, because for me, if we can't get it done this year, it's time to start looking around and it's time to start taking names. It's time to start taking names.
I'll tell you one player who's not up for it, Martin Odegaard.
Well, I didn't want to go there, but
if you want to talk about mentality and who's the weak link in this side, Martin Odegaard is the weak link in this side.
That is very valid. Very valid.
Yeah. Let me ask very quickly then, to close, before I bring the supers to close. Let me just ask this really quickly, right? A bid comes in the summer of 70 million euros. Raise your hand if you're selling Odegaard.
I'll drive it to the airport. I'll come all the way from the States and land in, and I'll pick him up and take him where we need.
You say 70 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, all day.
Just got to go.
Stricto, you disagree? Strict. Did you not put your hand up, or did you? Did I miss it? Oh,
He's thinking. He's thinking.
Oh, is he thinking?
He can't be thinking.
Let me tell you now, I would sell Martin Odegaard and I would go and get Morgan Rogers. Done.
Yeah,
Absolutely
finish.
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Why?
Morgan Rogers is too hot and cold. No chance.
You think? I like Morgan Rogers, man.
No.
Absolutely. Morgan Rogers is the most hot and
Who
cold
would you
player.
get? Who would you get, ND?
He's a bit box to box though, isn't he? Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers
He
and
is.
Martin.
He's
Different
very
kind of players.
different, completely
Morgan's-
different players.
He's kind of a big Frank type, isn't he? Big
Yeah,
Frank.
he's
Big Frank type.
Yeah, but that's what we need, though, isn't it? Because that's
Yeah,
what
definitely. Without showing that,
consistent.
we would have to change. He would have to,
completely
you
different
know,
player.
because of his potential. He is a different kind of player. Maybe if we had maybe a different coach with different emphasis, Morgan Rogers will fit in with Arsenal. But I always look at players, and from now on, whenever we get a player and they play in like forward positions like midfield and in the front three, I always have to look at it and think, right, I've got to think of what Mikel will want. Because Mikel's very much Alpha and Omega. Because we kind of got burnt with a few players over the years that have come to this football club, and we haven't factored in the demands on them tactically.
Interesting. Stricto, I know you got a fly, bro. We're gonna stop on here anyway. Let me bring these.
He hasn't answered the question about Odegaard
He
yet.
doesn't want to answer the Odegaard one, man. You can tell he doesn't want to answer it, bro.
What was that? Would you
Don't
sell
answer
Odegaard
it.
for 70 million euros in the summer?
Euros or pounds?
Pounds, whatever you want to call it. 70 million. We all raised our hands, by the way. All of us.
So I didn't hear that. Say that again, bro. I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Would you sell Odegaard in the summer for 70 million pound?
Woo! What did everyone say?
We all raised our hands, by the way, Stricto, all of us.
What, raise your hand to sell him?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? Yeah, I hate sentiments. I'm a player that I'm a guy that hates sentiment on players.
2024 was 2 years ago, bro.
Yeah, it's part of the growing process.
That's what I'm hanging on.
He's got a goal.
That's
He's got a goal,
exactly
man. He's got
That's exactly
70
what I'm hanging on.
million. Oh, 70 million pound. You've got a ready-made 10 in Saka that goes there, and you go and buy a top winger, bro. That's
It won't be
basic.
because of
That's
Saka. It won't be
basic
because
to
of.
me.
It won't be because of Saka.
Let me see if I can convince you, Stricto. You spoke an awful lot tonight about mentality. Do you think Odegaard has the mentality?
I think he has. I think he has.
He's the weak link.
I think he has, and you. I don't listen. Do you know what? It's a tough one for me. It looks like it's easy for you lot, but for me, I just can't get over how instrumental he was in that 20. Is it 23, 24? Is it 22, 23 season?
22 seasons.
No, you know what? Oh, sorry. Do you know what? Actually, see the question. Yeah, the question matters. Depends if we win the league or not.
Why?
Because if we win the league, I feel like our squad is able to continue to do this and add players. If we don't win the league, then
you know what? No, I wouldn't sell Odegaard. I wouldn't.
It depends. It depends if you win the league or not to me. But he's
Yeah,
going now.
If we win the league and we want to be elite next season, and we need because to be elite and to be the team that we should be, because Arsenal never had the domination of English football that it should have since the 30s. You can say to Martin Odegaard, thanks.
No, but you know what it is? The feeling that I would have.
We're now going to get better you in the position because there is better than Martin Odegaard back there. There is.
There is. But what the feeling that you would have and how happy you are and stuff. I don't know if selling a player.
This is when we've got to be more ruthless. This is when we've got to be more ruthless. When we win things and we dominate, that's when we've got to
it sounds good. It sounds good, Ken. It sounds good. It does sound good.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand how it depends on whether we win the league or not. Well, I mean, if we win the league, it won't be because of Martin Odegaard. He scored one goal.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You don't know that. When Odegaard came on against Newcastle, he changed the game. When he came on against Brentford the other day for the first 15, 20 minutes, when he came on,
first 5 minutes, yeah, and then he lost his man at the back six.
We don't know. He's still a youthful player.
Not a starter. You're talking
Odegaard has suffered a lot of injuries as well. Even this season, man got injured 3 times this season, like back to back.
Odegaard's not been right since his missus gave birth to that kid. I don't know whether he's like having sleepless nights and all that.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that, bro.
Man said that kid, you know, it's crazy.
Let's not do that, Brendan. Let's not do that. Listen,
It's true, though, isn't it?
no. Let's not do that, man. Man's a father. Listen, let's not do that. Let's leave that. But what I'm saying
Hey, I
is,
feel for him. I've got 3 of my own, but Jesus Christ, like you can't be playing like 1 goal all season.
what I'm saying is, yeah,
That's about how many he scored last season.
He's had a lot of injuries. Literally, he's come back. He got injured at internationals. Yeah, hasn't been the same really. Like he was just getting back into it. He's had issues finding his form again. But one reason why I struggle to say I'll easily get rid of Odegaard, because I know there's a player in there, and coming off now this last few games now, he will perform when he's not expected to. There'll be that game 100%. Where everyone's saying, well, Odegaard, the mentality is not right, and then boom, he's picked up, he's got an assist, or he's let off one shot, won us a game,
and he's a unique player. There's not many players like him as well.
Hey, are you talking about the game against Mansfield by any chance? Because I don't class that. You know what I mean? Like I want him to perform in the Premier League, not Mansfield.
Even if it's Mansfield, it gets us to the next stage. At this stage where we're talking about mentality, it doesn't matter who you're facing. Fucking get it done, whether it's Mansfield or Wigan. Yes, I know the quality ain't there with Mansfield, but you still got to go there and you still got to perform. But I do feel there is still something in Odegaard, and I think there's a lot of games still for him to turn it around. I know.
Do you agree he's a bit overrated though, guys? Look, I'm not saying he's a bad footballer, but he ain't as good as Paul Merson. He ain't as good as Ozil. He ain't Bergkamp. He ain't Fabregas. He ain't Cazorla. He's just an all right, decent player, and he hasn't been decent for us in my opinion for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So
do you know what it is? It's not about his ability. It's about if Arsenal want to win major trophies consistently, it's about that. And he ain't got it. He simply hasn't got it. Name me one time where we've been under pressure and we've had a pressurized game or pressurized moments within the season, and Odegaard has arisen. Because he's the first one that goes missing every time.
What 10s are better than him in the league?
Bruno Fernandes.
Who else?
I hate the way you said
Bruno Fernandes is levels above him, and you know it.
But who else?
Bruno Fernandes is better than him. Yeah,
he is 100%. I think Cole Palmer's better than him.
There's probably a lot of players that are better than Odegaard. I don't think that's even the argument. I don't think that's the argument. But I think in this Arsenal system, in the manager and what we know, he does fit the system. He knows the system. He's just off form. Do you get what I'm saying? There's no doubt he puts in a lot of work. There's no doubt about that. But I still need an output going forward. I still think he will turn it around. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hoping. Maybe it's a case of hope rather than anything else. I know a lot of the panel's given up on that. But for me, I just do think this brother will turn it around. And I think it will just be when it's least expected. And I think the hair flick will come out. And do you get what I'm saying? It will just rally us through.
Let's hope so, man. Look, man, let's do some supers before we get out of here. This is from NetTweet. Big up to you, bro. There's lots and lots of these from you. Again, man, whole point of real support is how you react when you've just been punched down to second place again. Shame to every casual in the Emirates who'll clap for Arteta if he winds us up in second place again. I know you're not a fan, NetWeed. I hope that we win it. Jaden says one-dimensional and dusty on the field is Saka. Little bit harsh. He has had some injuries. He don't look the same player for me, but I get your point. Emmy says you've got goal wingers and not creative wingers. I kind of agree with that. I think that they can score, but they have been able to create, man. It's a system thing. I still stand by it. 4-4-2 with Saka as a right forward. I actually think Arsenal have in some games in and out of possession played 4-4-2. I did a show on it, and I actually quite like what I see in and out of possession. NetWeed says big up to Brandon, King Kenny, and Matty Southern Guna as well. And we've got this one from NetTweet says, question for D and Stricto. With second place, does Josh sack eight players or one manager if we give Pep yet another league title again? Well, I think the manager will go if we don't win the league. And I think he should go, if I'm honest. I don't think you can be 7 points clear and lose it again.
Do you think this might be his last season anyway?
A lot of people think that, but I don't think it will. I don't think so, but a lot of people have said that.
I just think this job, in terms of what it entails, is like a highly pressurized environment. It's even more pressurized now. We're in 4 tournaments, It's more pressurised because we've got a proper sporting director making demands, and you've got a fan base making demands. I don't, the days of Wenger and Sir Alex doing 20 years tops, it's gone forever. You look at Pep, he's on his last legs at Man City. I'd be shocked if he's the Man City's head coach or manager this August.
I don't think Arteta's guaranteed to stay for 15, 20 years like Arsene Wenger did or like Sir Alex Ferguson.
Over, man.
Yeah, they're done. They're
We
finished.
don't see those kind of managers again. That's all.
Nah, they're done, bro. They're done. But look, I don't know.
Surely
but
we're finished then, aren't we? If Arteta leaves, we're finished. We're done. Fold the club.
Well, that's what I've tried to.
One thing we got to accept. One thing you got to accept is that the managers the world class managers we want are only going to be with us for 2 to 3 years, 4 years tops, and they'll find other challenges.
I'm okay with that if they're gonna win trophies for 2-3 years and then we bring someone else.
Are Arsenal okay with that? Because we've always liked a long-term manager.
No, they're not. I don't think so. The ownership like to grab hold of like youngsters and make them, like these long-term projects, don't they? And say, this is you're the young coach. You're going to be here for a while. I don't know, man. Look, I've always said that I've got a problem. This is the year. I don't want to start talking too negatively before May. I've got to see what we're lifting first before we make decisions. But I've got to wrap up, people. Big up to all of you guys. We're going to send you over to D. I don't know where D's gone, but we are sending him over to FamZone TV, who's going to be live now. We've got Kenny Ken in the house. Thank you, Kenny. Make sure you're following Kenny Ken on social media. And Matty as well. What you got coming up, Matty?
I will be on with Lee and the guys tomorrow for the Wolves game. So we'll be there tomorrow.
Love that. Watch along for Lee. Make sure you go over there and follow Matty on Southern
I've
Green.
got one thing to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for our biggest match of this season against our only biggest rivals, Tottenham Hotspur.
Big up, bro. I see that this morning was great, by the way, when you said that. I appreciate
I couldn't resist that with my younger brothers on this stream. I had to get that one in.
Stricto, what you got coming up, bruv? Oh, you're on mute, bro.
Yeah, so guys, the watch along tomorrow. Strict Wolves versus Arsenal. Yeah, I'm doing that from 7:30. So make sure you lot come over, man. Get locked in.
Love that, man. Make sure you're following D on FamZone TV. He's got a shoot now. He's got a show. We're going to redirect you over there. So go show some love, D. Always a pleasure, brother.
Love my bros. Appreciate it. See you, man, next week, man. This is a good show today. I loved it.
Love, man. Love. And Brandon, you got anything coming up, bruv?
Depending on how the game goes tomorrow, probably some more ranting and raving on the football terrace. So come and tune in.
Love that, man. Make sure you go show D some love. We're going to send you over there now. Redirect. Go and say Dan Potts raid, 12th man raid. And we'll see you next time. We're out of here, people. Laters.